So what's going on?
Well,
Yeah, we'll start with you, but we'll just
okay.
start where we're at and trust it.
Oh, okay. Well, I have a question, and I'm not. Well, I'm stuck. Let's say, with there's this person from my past decades ago, a man I dated when I was in my 20s. Occasionally, he comes to mind. I don't know what triggers it, but it's always a negative thing. It ended up being a really bad experience in my life. Lots of tears. I did the inner work around it, emoting and gaining awareness and that sort of thing. But my thinking about him is still negative, and I've been trying to find opening thoughts that are true. That can, if when he comes up again, then I can just, remember them, say them to myself, and then let him go. But I cannot come up with an opening thought about him. So I don't know if you have any suggestions about how to noodle my way into that.
Well, if you're triggered, it's your stuff. That's the challenge. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know it's me. Yeah, it's definitely. I get triggered when
So,
he
like,
pops into
tell me
mind.
about what the upset specifically is,
Well, we dated for
so that I can kind of
about
help you with
yeah.
the.
Yeah, we dated for about 4 months, and I think he was using me for sex. In the end, can you hear me? Okay. And I didn't see that. I was, initially for, I thought we were, a couple dating. I really liked him. I was kind of crazy about him. And but after 3 or 4 months, he broke it off. Like, okay, well, I guess he's not the one. And then we went to, at work, there's a lot of young people, and we would go out for happy hour afterwards. And so this one time he was there and I was there, and I didn't get drunk. I never, I was tipsy, but I knew exactly what I was doing. And he was flirting with me, and I'm thinking, oh, we're going to get back together. And I naively, stupidly brought him back to my room. I was renting a room in a duplex with other women. And I saw him the next day at work because it was during the week, and he acted like nothing happened.
Yeah. So, okay. So
Yeah.
that I get the kind of the pain. But he keeps coming back into your life. Is he back in your life now?
No, I haven't seen him since I left that job many years ago.
So this is just a pain that you're
did,
having whenever. Is it like the grievance?
Piece,
Is it the grievance piece that you're doing?
No, it just came up again, and I just was trying to work with it a couple days ago, and I found myself unsuccessful.
Okay, great. So tell me the one other piece, and then we're going to jump in.
I got pregnant.
Okay.
From that one time.
I just want to say one thing real quick. I really appreciate your depth and your honesty and your vulnerability, because this is not an easy conversation.
No.
And I just want to say how strong and beautiful it is, and how much I love that you're bringing this much to the call, because this is the real stuff that we deal with on a regular basis that causes so much pain and suffering. It's not even in our lives anymore, and yet it's in our face and still hurting us and keeping us from being present and having a full, happy life. So thank you, because this is the kind of coaching that makes a big difference. This is the coaching that people need to hear with the IGS. Okay, babe. So thank you. I love it. So tell me the one other piece. You got pregnant, and then.
Well, I had
made a difficult decision.
Yeah, I mean, at the time I didn't think I had much of a choice, because I was taking Accutane for acne, and my dermatologist said, "Look, you have to promise me that if you get pregnant, you'd have an abortion, because birth defects are very high and they are horrific when they occur." And so I promised that to her. And it sort of let me off the hook in a way of really examining, well, really, what would I want to do? I should have asked more questions. I later learned that 25% of babies exposed in the womb to that are severely, injured. But 75, that means 75% aren't. And my views about the whole
Okay.
thing have
So,
changed. I have some regret about that. Yeah.
okay. So let's do it both.
Okay.
Okay. So first, tell me what is coming up as it's up again for you. So what is the thinking that is actually coming up specifically?
Oh, kind of like, oh, he used me. He never actually really liked me. He treated me like shit. I mean, shortly after that whole deal there, I was in a beach house with a bunch of women. I had a half share, and this other woman had a half share. And then we're at the beach, a bunch of us. And then this woman comes over with him, and they're like flirting right in front of me. I mean, we're talking like a month or two later after I have the abortion.
Okay.
So I think about that scene that comes to mind, and I just think, what an ass. He sees me right here. I'm right here, and he's acting like that. And I
Yeah.
just,
And
yeah.
that doesn't open you? Does that open you?
Actually, it does open me to know that I was, just so disgusted, and because of how he acted
So
in front of me. Yeah.
yeah. So let's drop into your listening
Okay.
for a minute. I just want you don't have to close your eyes. Just feel your hands and your feet, and let's get back to present moment, not back in the beach house. Take a breath and let it out. So one of the things that happens often with us women is we don't think of men as being hurt, broken, abused. In my time of coaching, I can't tell you how many times I've come across somebody who's been sexually abused as a male, then we don't even think about that. We don't think about their mothers abandoning them, not showing them love, their fathers abusing them, being beaten up. There's all kinds of stuff that happen to men as well as women. And one of the effects of this, and I'm not diagnosing him, but one of the effects of this is men have a tendency to begin to use women to try to feel better, and they hate themselves for it. As it's not necessarily a pride thing. I've had many men come, and many by I probably like 5 or 6 of the men that I've coached deeply regret the using of women in their youth. Okay. Deeply regret and feel ashamed of themselves. And they know they hurt women, but they didn't, especially once they've had a daughter, then it really shows up for them. So I just want you to hold for a second that it wasn't about whether he loved you or not. It was about he could not settle into a relationship because he didn't have the tools. Just notice if that opens you. I'm just, and because we'll find the truth. If it closes you, then that's not true. And we just need to keep moving until we discover what really happened.
Okay.
Because well, let's start with this thought. It really wasn't about you. There wasn't anything wrong with you that caused him to treat you that way. Open, closed, or neutral.
Open.
So so hold on to that, because a lot of times we think I wasn't good enough, I wasn't pretty enough, I wasn't dynamic enough. Now let's hold the thought. It's not that I was stupid. He's very charming. Open, closed, or neutral.
Open.
He had a lot of pain and he didn't know where to put it, and women were his drug.
Wow. Open.
And he hates himself more than I could ever hate him.
Open. Wow, I never would have come up with that. Well, maybe now I could, but
The only reason I can is because I've coached so many beautiful men and they've gone through the similar thing. So that's the only reason I can kind of go to that place, is there is a consistency to needing female attention to feel better, but then also realizing the damage they're doing and not being able to fix it. And the only thing I can say is just now hold him, because there's space holding. The space holding activity is, there was a being that you really were attracted to, and you could see how amazing he is, and you could see the possibility of having a beautiful relationship. And all of that is possible for him in his broken state. And so the best thing that you could possibly do is just, when you think of it, realize that you're looking at somebody who's really hurting and is really not wanting to do that to anyone, because you've opened, we're not making up a fairy tale,
Right.
and that you're going to hold space for him being able to overcome this and actually have intimacy and love, because the is one of the most self-hated, loathing places that a man could be, who's a real good man, which you actually saw, and they can't get there.
Wow.
So when that comes up for you, use it as a prayer. Use it as a place where you can tend and set an intention for him to have something better. And then we're going to move, if you don't mind, if you feel comfortable, let's move to the regret.
Okay.
And feeling as if you didn't do enough research.
Yeah.
Okay. There's a very simple thought on this one, and we can go really deep if you need to, and especially since you and I are doing private work together. But the thought is this: with all the information I had at the time, it was the thing that was the best choice.
It's true. I'm open to that.
You're open to that. If I had any inkling that there was a 75% chance the baby would be okay, but I didn't know that. That came much later, and I can't be responsible for information I didn't even have. I didn't know. And with everything happening with him, it was the best choice I could have made with the information I had.
I'm open to that.
And it's okay that my idea about abortion and babies have changed now that I'm older. It doesn't change who I was in that moment. I was okay. I did the best I could. Do you feel that opening?
Very much so.
There are many, many things that I have done in my history that I regret, that I have remorse over. But when I go back and I really sit with who I was in that second, that moment of my history, and what I had gone through in my life, and how hard I was trying to do the best I could in life, I believe most of us are trying to do the best we can in life. That was the decision that that was the only place I could go with what I had in that moment. Me as an adult, I can't, in this new, wiser Zen state, I can't go back and try to compare her to me.
Yeah, that wouldn't be fair.
There's just no comparison.
Yeah, you can't.
No,
I see that.
no, I can't hold her to that standard.
Yeah.
I can't hold the 27-year-old Zen to a standard that 54-year-old Zen.
Yeah, it's not fair. Yeah.
Not fair. Okay.
Okay. Wow.
Thank
That
you.
was so helpful.